Sorry, what? What did you say? Hey sailors! Welcome back to Cruising as Crew. My name is Lucy and today we're going to go through 3 reasons why you may have not got your cruise ship job that actually have nothing to do with you. But before we start, please press like and subscribe for more cruise ship content, and if you have any questions or video ideas for me, then you can DM me over on Instagram at Cruising as Crew. But as for now, let's get into it. When we apply for a job and we have an interview and it doesn't go so well, I mean, firstly, it's rubbish. It's really rubbish when we don't get a job that we want. But also, we obviously assume it's because we didn't perform well in the interview, we haven't got the right qualifications. Like, we assume that the reason we didn't get the job is because of us. But actually, when it comes to working on cruise ships, there are 3 reasons why you may have not got the job, which have nothing to do with you. Which is why it's really important that if you want to work on cruise ships, you keep applying. If you apply once and you don't get the job, it could be because of one of these reasons that I'm going to mention in a minute. I actually learned all of this very recently. When it comes to cruise ships, timing really is everything. So let's go through the 3 reasons why you might not get the job. So the first one is gender, and it's not for any like sexist reason that you might be thinking, it's logistics. So basically, the majority of crew members that go to work on a cruise ship are going to need to share a cabin. And you have to share a cabin with someone who is the same gender as you. So let's say the cruise line are hiring for restaurant staff for a particular ship. Now, if the person leaving that ship is a guy, they're going to need to replace him with a guy, because when he leaves, he's going to leave a space in his cabin that's going to need to be replaced. If you put a girl in his place, she's going to have nowhere to sleep, because you cannot have 2 people of different genders in one cabin unless they're a couple, but that's another video. For example, if you say like, I would really like to go on this ship, and they say, we're really sorry, we just don't have room on there, maybe that could mean that, well, people are leaving but they're all girls and you're a guy and we need to replace the girls with girls. Unless 2 girls are leaving and then they could replace it with 2 guys, but that's very rare. So anyway, the first one is gender. The second thing is where you are from. As I've mentioned in previous videos, cruise ship crew members can be made up of multiple nationalities, sometimes 50 nationalities. So there's no like racism going on, because literally people are accepted from all over the world. However, to have a healthy dynamic on a cruise ship, it's very important to have people from everywhere. If you have a large number of people from one country, there's kind of like a mafia culture, I can't say mafia, but like a clique culture. They all flock together, you know? Birds of a feather flock together. This can sometimes create bullying, exclusion. It just disrupts the balance of things. So I'll give you an example. When I started working on cruise ships, I worked in the spa on board. There was a time where everyone who left the spa, finished their contract, was replaced by someone from Portugal. Portuguese people are wonderful. Like, they are great. But it ended up that like half the spa were made up of Portuguese girls. And then the rest of the spa was like English, Australian, Mexican, you know, there was a range. But all of the Portuguese girls stuck together and they formed a clique and they didn't really let anyone else in. And another reason, on a cruise ship, you have to speak English all the time. In passenger areas, you are required to speak English all the time, whether it's your first language or not. So if you have a bunch of people who all speak Portuguese and you can speak your native language, you are going to be tempted to speak your native language. And they were tempted. So a lot of the times, like in the spa, they would be speaking Portuguese, which for one is not allowed, but even like throwing that out the window, for everyone who can't understand, it's annoying. It's annoying, you know. Have your girl talk in Portuguese, I don't care, but they would talk about things to do with work in Portuguese, and then you feel like the annoying one because you're like, sorry, what did you say? And it just creates like an unhealthy balance. I also worked in the spa on another ship where every single person in the spa was from a different country. So Japan, China, English, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, and I've never worked in such a friendly environment. Like, truly, because no one could speak their native tongue, apart from me. So there was no frustrations in that department. And because everyone was from a different country, we all came together. We were all alone together. So the spa wasn't divided. I think there was like 25. All 25 of us were a big group. We would all go out together. We would all go to the crew bar. We would all come together. There was no exclusions. There was no bullying. There was nothing. Whereas, as I said, when you have a large amount of people from the same country, it can cause a bad dynamic. Now, obviously, the majority of crew members are made up of Indians and Filipinos. And that's kind of unavoidable. Like, every ship I've been on, you know, there are a lot of Filipinos and a lot of Indians. Great people. But there definitely is an Indian and a Filipino, like, mafia sort of dynamic going on. They all have each other's backs. They get each other, like, and you know what? Indian people and Filipino people, once again, are incredible. Amazing people. But I have definitely found that they tend to stick together. Like, all the Indian guys, all the Indian girls, they will stay with other people from India, and the Filipino guys, they will stay with the people from the Philippines. And hey, why wouldn't you? If there's English people on board, I tend to flock to them as well. Like, it's human nature, it's just what you do. But the point is, if there's too many of one nationality on a ship, it can really, like, mess with the dynamic. And sometimes that can be the difference between an unfriendly ship, a party ship, a boring ship. When you're in the cruise industry and you're, like, looking for your next ship to go on, you can obviously ask people and be like, oh, have you been on this ship? Have you been on this ship? And they will say, oh yeah, it's known as X. So I went on Oceania. Before I went on it, was known as the party ship. When I got on, it was not the party. I mean, there was parties and we had a great time, but it wasn't as wild as it was. And when I kind of looked into it, 4 months previous to me joining the ship, the crew members were made up of mostly one nationality, which led to it being a party ship. So the nationality has a massive, massive, massive role to play in having a healthy ship. It's like food, everything in moderation. You need a little bit of everything. You need people from everywhere to make it work. So if you have an interview and you are either unsuccessful, maybe you're successful but you are unable to join a particular ship, it's probably because they're like, actually, we've already got a lot of your nationality on that ship, so we would prefer to put you on another ship. They're never going to say that to you, but that could be a reason. And then the third reason is where the ship is going. So if the cruise line are hiring crew members for a particular ship, and that ship is due to sail around Japan in 2 months, they're going to hire mostly Japanese people or people who can speak fluent Japanese, because a lot of the passengers are going to be Japanese. So for example, my first contract was on Rhapsody of the Seas and it was supposed to be 9 months. 6 months into my contract, I got transferred from Rhapsody of the Seas to Legend of the Seas because Rhapsody was heading over to South America. That meant that the majority of the passengers were going to be Spanish speaking, and I, as much as I wish I could, and I'm trying to learn, cannot speak Spanish. So I was transferred to a ship where the passengers were supposed to be English speaking. They were actually mostly Chinese speaking, and I can't speak Chinese anyway. But the point is, I was moved based on the language I could speak and where I was from, to a ship that I would be better suited to, in theory. So you might have an interview and you might be able to speak English and Portuguese, but the ship that they're hiring for is going to Japan. You might not get the job because you can't speak Japanese. However, if you apply and have an interview in 4 months, you might get the job because they might be looking for people who can speak English and Portuguese. Hopefully, if you are a qualified candidate, they will give you the job and just say, we'll let you know when we can find you a ship. But I have known people who haven't got the job and they have applied again and have got the job. There's not a set number of times that you can apply. Just keep applying until you get the job. I know it's annoying, I know it's exhausting, but you know, persistence, you will get the job eventually. And also it shows how much you want it. If you go into an interview and you say, yeah, I've already interviewed, they'll be like, okay, like they're gonna work hard because they really want this. So It's really important that you don't lose faith, because as we've just gone through, the reason you might not get the job or the ship you want might have nothing to do with you. But anyway, I really hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, then please give this video a like and leave a comment. It really helps me out with the algorithm. And like I said, if you have any video suggestions or questions, you can either comment them down below or DM me over on Instagram at cruisingAsCrew, or you can send me an email from my website cruisingAsCrew, which will be linked down below. But I really hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye.